Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another video. Today, I'm going to be doing an election prediction between solely Donald Trump and Joe Biden. Last time I did one between Trump, Biden, and Robert Kennedy. A lot of people were upset with the fact that my prediction favored Trump and not Biden, given just the fact that Kennedy is more outside of the mainstream, I guess, and possibly could get more populist appeal and split that Trump vote. I truly believe at the end of the day that Kennedy's independent run would hurt Biden in the long term. I stand by that. But now this is just going to be a head-to-head matchup between Biden and Trump. I'm not trying to upset anybody when I make this prediction again. I truly believe that Trump would, at this point in time, if the election were today, and that's how I make all of my predictions, do very, very well against Biden in a head-to-head matchup. I know that a lot of recent polls have come out that show and corroborate this claim. When we look over here at RCP polls, I'm just on my Safari browser, Chrome browser, and you look at the head-to-head matchups that just came out between Trump and Biden. I know this was only one New York Times Siena poll. I don't think that this information is entirely accurate. I do think that Trump's support could possibly be slightly overstated in this prediction. Of course, there's the CBS poll as well, but it sends a message, and it does portray a greater truth, if you allow me to use that term. Trump versus Biden, +5 in Michigan. Do I think Trump's +5 in Michigan? Maybe not. Do I think Trump's up in Michigan? Yeah, I do. I think that Trump is up in most of these toss-up states against Joe Biden, and if the election were held today, he would. Trump +11 in Nevada. Do I think that's accurate? Probably not. Maybe he's up 3 or 4 in Nevada, but he's still up against Biden in Nevada. Um, there was this one New York Times poll that came out. Obviously, a few other polls show it going the other way, and a few other polls have Trump support, up as well. So, it's very hard to determine, obviously. But when you look at the most recent polls, New York Times Siena is considered a very good pollster. Historically, has Trump up in almost every single state. It had, the head-to-head matchup, Trump versus Biden in Wisconsin, Biden up 2. Normally, I would say that doesn't make sense because Trump historically has done better in Wisconsin against both Biden and Clinton than he has in Pennsylvania and Michigan, where you see Michigan actually Trump doing the best in, and then Pennsylvania, and then Wisconsin. Against Harris, I don't think this is as likely because Harris won't be the Democrat nominee and ever for president. I just don't believe that'll ever happen. But when you have that matchup in Michigan, Harris is the strongest, and then Pennsylvania, Trump is the strongest. So you get what you get from that. But in almost all of these polls, and it's not just Trump that's doing well. It's DeSantis is doing well against Biden. It's Haley who's doing well against Biden. I don't know if Haley is doing that well against Biden, but she could be. And the bottom line is when you look at these polls and when you look at the CBS poll, there's also a CBS poll that came out that has Trump up 3 nationally against Biden. Biden is doing very poorly. Now, this stems from a lot of issues across the country during Biden's administration that's happened. I think a lot of people, and maybe including me, this could include my own bias as well. But when I look at the Biden administration, and I speak for, I think, a lot of Americans, when they look at his administration, they see it very much as a letdown. Or I wouldn't say maybe as a failure, maybe not, but as a letdown. They expected things to pretty much, run the same, but we would have a president that projected more of a honest and professional approach to the presidency rather than somebody who was very loud and got us into a lot of, hot water, or got himself into a lot of hot water and just wasn't as quote unquote presidential as the other presidents. You look at Obama, Bush, Clinton. They were very, of course, uh, how do I put it, formal and very much like that. Trump was very much different from that. But when you look at Biden's administration, policy wise, in my mind, and as I say, in a lot of other people's minds, things have gotten worse. You look at the economy, obviously, has gotten worse under the Biden administration. Inflation is through the roof. Inflation is just out of control in today's economy. When you look at gas prices, rising like we've never seen before under Trump, averaging where I lived about 2.15 a gallon, now averaging 3.70, 3.80, upwards of $4 a gallon, downwards of 3.50 a gallon. So anywhere from that range. Being generous to Biden, and that's very, very poorly looking solely at the economy. When you look outwardly, when you look at the global scale, Biden, as I'm sure you guys have seen the clips of Biden speaking in the 2020 election, Donald Trump is going to get us into a war globally. He's going to get us into World War III. Hillary Clinton talking about how Trump's finger on the nuclear button would destroy Earth. When you look now under Trump's administration, there was almost all peace. Peace in the Middle East. The Abraham Accords are being signed. You look in Russia, there was nothing going on over there. In China, slight aggression, but nothing like we've seen now toward Taiwan. Now under President Biden, the terrorist attacks by Hamas in Israel have only gotten worse and worse and worse. And when you look at Israel's negotiations with Saudi Arabia, seem to be falling apart, and that possibility of peace in the Middle East is fading away. When you look in Europe, war for the first time in since the Cold War, since in Europe, with Russia and Ukraine, Russia invading Ukraine, and that's because of Biden's very weak stance globally, where he said if there was a small incursion into Ukraine, then the United States would not do much about that. Emboldened Putin to go in and invade Ukraine. China showing a significant aggression in Taiwan. So a very, very aggressive uh, world stage at the moment, and very much little proxy wars happening across the globe. Same thing that happened during the Cold War, except now it's kind of another Cold War that could boil into a hot war if um, Israel feels threatened, and if they decide to use nuclear weapons, that's a very likely possibility. Who knows? I'm not saying this will happen, but under Biden's administration, things have gotten very, very unsafe globally, you could say. Not just global politics, not just economic politics. When you look at immigration, a lot of people are upset about the fact that illegal immigration has just gone through the roof under Biden's administration. You look at millions of people a year coming in illegally and not being deported, nothing happening to them, um, nothing serious happening to them. That is a serious concern. When you look, even New Yorkers are very upset with the fact that they see these illegal immigrants coming into their cities and ruining it and breaking the bonds apart that made New York what New York was. And it's not just Republican areas, it's Democrat areas as well. When you look at crime going through the roof under this administration, across the United States, increased theft, increased robbery, which is essentially the same thing, murder, all of these things. Very little prosecution of these crimes, and very little jail time for the actual crimes that people are prosecuted for and jailed for. It's not. There's no incentive at this point. It seems like. So just under Biden's administration, in my mind, as I said, I have my own bias against Biden at this point, but as I think in the minds of many Americans, um, things have gotten worse. And under Trump, you may have had a brute force who had a loud mouth, but things were actually run quite well. And America was safe, and the global world was pretty safe. There was no major wars. When you look at the economy, it was very good. I mean, we had low prices, we had very low unemployment rates. So, yeah, that's what we're seeing right now. Without further ado, I know I had a long spiel about the current situation between Trump and Biden nationally and why I believe that a lot of people are supporting Trump. Let's get into the actual election prediction. And this was obviously me giving my context to what I'm about to do. I'm not saying that it's going to be a landslide election because America's so polarized. I don't see that happening, but I see Trump doing very well. Anyway, safe Democrat states. We're going to give California, Oregon, Hawaii. I'm not going to get too much into detail with that. You look at the East Coast, I'm going to give him essentially all of these states, as well as aside from, Maine at large, Maine second congressional district. I'll give him New York, and I'll give him Illinois. So getting him to 181 electoral votes. Looking at safe Trump states. Now this, some people may think I'm going a little overboard. I personally don't think I am when we look at safe Trump states. I'm going to leave Texas out, but just get ready. We're getting Iowa as a safe Trump state. We're getting Ohio as a safe Trump state. Excuse me, not North Carolina. That was not a safe Trump state. We're doing Maine 2nd Congressional District as a safe Trump district. And then, possibly surprisingly, I'm giving Florida as a safe Trump state. The fact that DeSantis has changed the demographics in Florida so much that the Florida Democratic Party has really, seemed to destroy itself in the last 4 years, 5 years under DeSantis's administration. The fact that registered Republicans now are a majority, a plurality over registered Democrats in Florida. The changes in Latino votes in Florida. The fact that Miami-Dade has shifted so much is an indicator that Florida is shifting demographically as a state and shifting toward the Republican Party. And I'm going to give it to Trump as a safe state. Heading into the likely Biden states, I think he'll still win New Hampshire as a likely margin. He's still popular, somewhat popular in the Northeast, as well as Maine at large by a likely margin. as well as the state of Colorado. And that's going to be it for Biden with likely Democrat states. Heading into likely Trump states. I'm giving Trump the state of North Carolina. I'm giving him Texas. Texas, of course, trending blue, but still very much, not very much, but a Republican state nonetheless. It's not a safe Republican state, but it's at least a likely lean state. I just don't see Trump losing Texas in this election. Any other likely Republican states at the moment? I don't see. I want to be generous, but I don't want to be too generous. And I know Arizona and Georgia won't. Probably won't be likely. But let's head into our lean categories. Lean Biden states. Very few. We're going to give the state of Virginia as a lean Biden state, and I'm going to give the state of New Mexico as a lean Biden state, getting him to 215 electoral votes. I'm leaving Minnesota, as you can see, out of the lean Biden category at the moment. Getting to lean Trump states, we're giving him Georgia, Arizona, Nevada, Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, and Michigan, all as lean Trump states. Then I'm going to tilt Minnesota in Biden's favor, and I'm going to tilt Nebraska's 2nd congressional district in Trump's favor. So I think this is actually the exact same prediction I had as the Trump versus Biden versus Kennedy prediction. Essentially the same thing. But at this point in time, Trump is looking incredibly strong going into the election, less than a year away. If Biden wants to turn things around, my best suggestion is do not run for president and put Gavin Newsom as the Democrat nominee, because Biden cannot win a head-to-head against Donald Trump at this point in time, and I don't think that he'll be able to fix things in the next year, less than a year. Who knows? The best advice that I could give to the Democrats: run a different candidate. Biden is not a strong candidate. Run Gavin Newsom. Don't run Kamala Harris, but run somebody that you think that we know is a good politician. Gavin Newsom, probably the best candidate. Pete Buttigieg, I don't really think has it, or Kamala Harris. But yeah, Biden very much does not look like he'll win this election. This is my prediction as of now. I think it's November 6th, 2023, while I've had this channel for over 3 years now. It sounds a bit crazy to say it out loud. But Donald Trump, at this point in time, looking like he will be, I guess you could say, reelected president of the United States in a non-consecutive term. Only other person to do this, as I say in every video, Grover Cleveland. Feel free to comment anything you'd like below. I'm more than open to listening to all your ideas. I gave you my thoughts on the election at the moment. But yeah, I just see Donald Trump dominating Biden in the election. And I also see DeSantis as doing very well against Biden, and Haley as doing well against Biden. It doesn't change the fact that Trump will win the election at this point, in my mind, and that Biden is looking very, very weak electorally. If things change, I will change my prediction, of course. But this is how I see it happening. Anyway, thank you for watching the video. Please make sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel. We are getting pretty close to 1,000 subscribers. A little far, but I thought I'd drop that in. Like the video, comment your thoughts, of course, and I am more than happy to read what you guys have to say. And yeah, have a great day. I will see you all very, very soon.